Hello everyone, thank you very much for clicking and for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Building a free game collection. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you stay around. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Hope you're okay. Hope you've had a good weekend. My weekend was different to what I originally planned last week. I was planning on getting to a car boot this weekend because we haven't been for a little while, completely forgetting that I was in Devon for a long weekend, and it was absolutely lovely. Really enjoyed my time there. But I didn't get to the car boot on Saturday, and it didn't matter about the car boot on Sunday because from what I can gather, the whole country got washed away Saturday afternoon in just the rain was horrendous. So the Sunday car boot was called off, but silver lining, I was down in Devon, Cornwall way. So while I was down there, we were visiting quite a few different places, and I realised I can go do that thing where people go and visit different CEXs, so a bit of a CEX road trip. So I managed to get to 4 different CEXs, and we went to Newton Abbot, Torquay, Exeter and Plymouth. So we basically went and did all the tourist bits. Absolutely lovely part of the country, beautiful. The Devon, Cornwall, beautiful part of the country. But all the different places went basically very easily as well. Just stopped off at the CEXs along the way. And I've basically gone and spent some of the voucher. Now, I don't usually spend the voucher until the end of the year is my plan, to do a big blowout. But when the opportunity presented itself, I popped in and I spent a voucher. So this video is going to be one of those ones where I've recorded me going into the CEXs so you can see the different CEXs, which I only ever go into the same CEXs over and over again for years. So going into different ones was really, I was probably more excited than I should have been. But I like those videos where people show you the different CEXs because I don't know why. It's just like, it's like somebody else's world similar to yours, isn't it? Very odd. Anyway, I did the best I could to record the to record the shops as I go through. I don't like recording as I go. I don't feel comfortable doing it, so I've done the best I can, so bear with so you can see the stores. But I've spent some credit, I've spent some voucher, and there's one big heavy hitter in here, one big hitter, and I hope you're in the mood for PS2 because I'm on a real PS2 kick. I mentioned this at the start of the year. I've got a big list of PS2 games I want. I keep watching the top 100, loads of 100 PS2 games, loads of hidden gem games, and now I'm deciding which ones I want to add into my collection. I'm doing the series of, well, I'm trying to do the series of the Purge in the PS2, and then we're going to add some real quality into it. So by the end of the year, the PS2 collection is going to be transformed, beautiful, exactly how I want it. So let's get going. We'll do each store one by one, and yeah, I'm excited to do this one. Let's get cracking with it. So before we get going to our first CEX, let's take away everything that we actually spent off the voucher total during our little trip. £75. It takes £75 away from the voucher. That's a lot of the voucher gone. A lot of it on one game, to be honest. So let's get to it. So let's start. First place we went to was Newton Abbot. Newton Abbot, lovely little town. It is definitely the smallest CEX I've ever been into. When I walked into there, it was like walking into like a corner shop. It was really odd. Glass cabinet all down the side. The glass cabinets were okay, nothing special about them, nothing particularly stood out. They had a half decent selection of PS1 games. There's 1 or 2 in there which took my fancy. I did ask about Overboard because that's one I want to pick up for the PS1 collection, but it didn't have a manual. Things that stood out to me in that store, they had the £1 bin, which I've heard people mention, but I've never seen in any of my CEX stores. So that was odd. I mean, they're not on offer or anything. They were just Blu-rays that cost £1 stuck in a bin right next. I saw it just as I turned to leave. I don't know if I got it on camera. I don't think I did because I just saw it as like right next to the counter. So that was interesting to see one of those. A fantastic selection. I think because the store was so small, everything was quite compact, which made the store look really nice and full. The other thing that stood out to me is there was more PS2 games than there was Xbox One games. That was a little strange to me. It was kind of nice and not nice to see at the same time. It was a bit strange because I do love the Xbox One, but it's sort of shown how little people must be buying the physical media of that now. But yeah, that really stood out. But yeah, Newton Abbot, lovely little town, lovely staff, very small, smallest CEX I've ever been into. But yeah, great little store. I enjoyed that little trip. What did I get from there? Dead to Rights. So Dead to Rights, it's a third-person shooter from Namco. This one just stood out to me for a couple reasons. A, it's Namco. They seem to be pretty good with their shooters. Third-person shooters is something I do enjoy on the PS2. This one's got a dog in it, which apparently is really OP. So that stood out. I thought that would be a bit of fun. It's also quite adult, this one, which you don't tend to get so much. A lot of the reviews and the popped up with like some of the content in it is not for kids. I mean, it's got a 16+ rating. But yeah, obviously it's the story I don't think is great. You Jack Slate, which is a very, very old school cop name, isn't it? You're a cop, something's gone wrong, probably you've been set up or someone's been killed or something like that. You're in a bad position, you got to shoot your way out of it and kill everyone, haven't you? And there's a dog in it. So because of that, I haven't played any of these games, by the way, so I can't talk too much about them because, well, I'm picking them up for my PS2 collection because I want to play them. But Dead to Rights, £3 of it that was. So pick that one up, put that one in the collection. Really happy with that one. So yeah, Newton Abbot, nice little store. Got a £1 bin, and they don't have much of an Xbox One collection. So that's a takeaway from that store. The next one is Torquay. Torquay is I love Torquay. I didn't go many places in England when I was younger, but I went Torquay quite a lot, so there's some good memories there. Lovely little seaside town. The CEX, to be honest, there's not much to say about that Torquay CEX. You walk in there, it's your normal stuff. You meet it by the games, DVDs at the back. The counter's halfway through. It's very long, quite thin. A good selection in there. Plenty of games for all generations of console. There was some decent PS1 behind the glass. There was some good Mega Drive in there, but yeah, there was nothing really stand out about the store. I did go to the counter. The staff in there were quite funny. They were quite polite, good guys. But yeah, just nothing too stand out about Torquay. It was nice being in Torquay and going into a CEX, going from the seaside to a CEX was a very novel for me. I did enjoy it. But yeah, the store in itself, good size, good selection, but nothing unique to really tell you about. The front window wasn't fantastic either, but not bad. But what did I get from there? Because that's what's important. Summoner 2. So this is a fantasy role-playing game, similar to Oblivion from what I can gather. Third person. You're a female protagonist, summoner, because you can cast magic and things, but it seems to be a role-playing game. The back doesn't give too much away. Again, I haven't played too much of it to really give much of a description, but this one just stood out to me because I want the summoner as well, but this one seems to be much more higher thought of than the original summoner. So yeah, just stood out. Just as it looked good. A lot of people tend to say that this is really it's been overlooked over the past couple of years. I don't think there's a Summoner 3 from what I can gather, but Summoner 2, I looked at it and thought, oh, I quite like my Oblivion, my sword play, that sort of thing. So it looked half decent. Again, I haven't played it. These are all just games that I looked at these videos and made a little note, added onto my CEX app with the little heart sign and thought, yes, I'll have that, because it's £2. It's £2. So I added that one, really chuffed. This is the only one that wasn't on the list until I got there and then I saw it. It is Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. Now, growing up, I'm not a Star Trek fan. I don't mind it by any stretch of the imagination. It's okay, I'll watch it. Tend to associate it with foreign holidays because for some reason every time I'm waiting for my partner to get ready for us to go out, it's always on telly. Probably just me, probably where I'm going, but that's what I associate Star Trek with. I know, a bit weird, but Voyager was different. I watched Voyager all the time growing up. It was always on the telly. Captain Janeway, all them lot. I must have watched them all. So as soon as I saw this, I thought, oh my God, what's that? It was £6. I actually stood in the shop and did a very, very quick Google of it to see if it was any good. And apparently it is one of the better ones. So yeah, it's a first-person shooter. From what I can gather, you work as a team in some missions as well. It's very simplistic, very easy apparently. There's not too much to it unless you're a Star Trek Voyager fan, which I am. I'll get some great nostalgia off this, so I picked it up. You're attacking the Borg. There's some Captain Janeway's in it. I just keep saying Captain. I don't know why I really like Captain Janeway. It was really Tuvok, is it? Yeah, that's in the back. But yeah, just Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. It's just one of those games that I just saw it and I thought that looks great, and when I looked online, a couple people just kept saying it's one of the better Star Trek games if you want to get one on the PS2. So I just picked, I don't know. I just really wanted it. It was £6. I'm definitely going to play it, which I think is important because, you know, what's the point in picking these things up if you're not going to play them? But that one, I don't know too much about it. It interests me. Great amount of nostalgia for Voyager, and I'm definitely going to play it. So, Star Trek Voyager. So that was my trip to Torquay. Really enjoyed it. Always worth a quick visit to Torquay. It's lovely. But yeah, that was the Torquay store. So next up is Exeter. Now, unfortunately, the footage that I filmed in the Exeter store became corrupted, and it was as soon as I got back to the room, I wasn't going to jump in the car and drive for another hour to go back and film it, which is a shame, because it was a nice store, big store, it's in a mall, the window display was quite nice, actually. I've got a nice long window, actually, walking up to the store. The window displays on the inside have plenty of retro in there, PlayStation 1, couple PS2, nothing particular heavy hitter that I was after in that one. Good amount of Game Boy games, PS1, Dreamcast, yeah, N64, they had a decent selection, a bit of everything. There's quite a lot of stock on the shelves, good amount of floor space, not too cramped. This one actually is quite nice and open, nice big counter as well. Yeah, just a decent store. Unfortunately, the footage didn't work. It's a nice store to walk into. It's not the biggest CEX I've ever been into, but it was a nice. I spent a good half hour walking around it. Yeah, as I do. It's hard to get me out of a CEX when I'm in there. But I had a very weird pickup in there, which is annoying because I could have filmed. I had it on camera me opening this. So the operative, no one lives forever. Notice there's no CEX sticker on it. Pick this up off the shelf. This is one that is on my list. So this is based in 1960s spy. So picture James Bond, but there's a comedy aspect to it, like Austin Powers. Female protagonist, again, Kate Archer. This one always pops up on the top 100 PS2 games to pick up. We've got all the gadgets, you know, the secret spy gadgets that are all got sort of like a femme fatale essence to it, you know, lipstick, perfumes, things like that. It's a first person shooter. Yeah, it looks great. This one stands out because I can't think of anything else that's like this, not only on the PS2 but any game I have. So this stood out because I do like James Bond. And yeah, I love a bit of comedy, and there was just nothing based in the 1960s as well, and apparently it's a bit tongue-in-cheek. Quite a lot of people rate this one. I genuinely never ever heard of it, so it's nice and cheap, so I picked this one up. But sorry, the reason this one was weird is because I picked no sticker or anything. I picked it up off the shelf looking like this. I thought, oh, there's no stickers on it. I opened it, the disc was in it. And the booklet, oh, again, lovely booklet, lovely disc, but the disc was in it, which I thought was really, really odd. So I took it up to the counter and I said, excuse me, how much is this? They looked at it, and then I said in there, because the disc is already in it, and they just looked a bit weird, and they opened it up and they goes, oh, the disc is in it. I was like, yeah. I was like, I've never known a disc, never once have I seen a disc still inside the case in a CEX. They didn't really acknowledge it much, to be honest. They just sort of put it through the till, told me the price, and I took it. But yeah, the disc was in there. It was really, really odd, but they didn't seem fussed. Like, I don't know if it happens all the time or they were just, I don't know. They were very busy, but yeah, disc and manual in the case in a CEX. Never had that before. I know, absolutely shocking, isn't it? I know, it's something to write home about. But yeah, anyway, no one lives forever. PS2. Really looking forward to picking that one up. So that was the trip to Exeter. And lastly is Plymouth. So I went to Plymouth because I was on the way to the Eden Project, which is fantastic, by the way. Great place to take the family. It's basically a rainforest and sort of the Mediterranean, the giant ecosphere. It's fantastic. It was free when I went. All you needed was a lottery ticket. It was really odd, but loved it. Went into Plymouth. Plymouth is a lovely city centre. It's near the harbour. Loads of great shops there. Definitely suggest if you go and buy and you get the opportunity to pop in and do some shopping there. Some fantastic shops, but their CEX was brilliant as well. Really big. It was loads and loads of selection there. The shelves were absolutely packed. The staff, there was this one guy in there who was absolutely lovely, couldn't be more helpful. I heard him speaking to a couple people, lovely chap. They had a fantastic sort of window display. They had some great PS2 games which had a hitter in there I had to take, some OG Xbox in there, some Game Boy. Weirdest things in there was they have a massive, like a third of the shop is like open space, you know, like where they do the testing. They have a massive test area which is like behind the glass and like just nothing there. You know, like when you go to a posh restaurant and you can see the kitchen while you're eating. It was like that. It's weird, but it's just that there was a guy in there testing a Wii. It was really weird. Like there's loads of potential there to do like the best window display in any CEX. It's odd, but yeah, that stood out. And the other thing is they had a lot of their, not all of them, but quite a few of their manuals were in the plastic cases with the CDs behind the staff, which is something you do not see in my CEXs. My CEX is simple. If it's in the case, you got a manual. If it ain't, it ain't. Simple as. But I noticed when I was walking around that, well, you know, I took a look and I saw them all. I was like, oh, okay, so. But that being said, this first one, actually the manual was with the disc, so it's a good thing I asked, but it's not a fantastic one, this one. So Primal, £2. The reason I say it's not fantastic, I've not played it, but I know it's sort of meh. It's sort of 50-50 on what people think about it. I picked it up because the premise looks half decent. It's another female protagonist, seems to be a theme on this one. You've got an assistant guy. Basically, it's got a bit of like a gothy theme to it, this one. When did it come out? 2002. Yeah, your partner is like in a rock band it begins with or something, and you just get picked up to save the world, and you can sort of transform into different sort of demonic states to complete the game. Third person. Yeah, it stood out to me. It made its way on the list anyway. I appreciate some people might be looking at this one and think, why has he got that? But it was only £2. And like I say, when I saw it in the video, I thought that looks worth it. It's a cheap game to pick up. So I went for it. I'm going to have a little play on it. I fancy a bit of it. I might lie on that side of the fence which thinks it's rubbish. I don't know. But I'll make my own mind up as to whether I like it or not. But Primal on the PS2, pick that up. So the next one, this is my heavy hit. I had to pick this one up. Clock Tower 3. £60. That's how that went. This is the last one. That's where all the money's gone. I saw it sitting there. I had to have it. He turned around. I asked if it had a manual. He said it's priced with a manual because PS2 games are now priced with manual. I haven't really mentioned that because it's not as bad as the PS1 situation. The price hike is nowhere near as bad. This one's gone up a little bit. I think it was £45. I think I've seen it for, and I paid 60. So I think it's gone jacked up quite a little bit from the manual, but I don't care because I really, really want it. As soon as I saw the condition of the manual, the disc is absolutely, I won't show you because you can never tell, but it's mint. It's absolutely beautiful copy of it. I had to pick this up. I remember Mitch at Retro Rummage picked this up from a car boot last year. I don't usually watch other people's YouTube videos and get jealous on what they pick up because it's all swings and roundabouts. It's not my personality, but I will admit when I saw that, yeah, I got a bit jelly because this has been on my list for so long. Last year I picked up Haunting Ground and I really ummed and ahed whether to get that or this, but I went for Haunting Ground just because I had a bit more voucher, so I went for the more expensive one, but this one was right up there, so I had to pick it up when I saw it there. Yeah, as soon as he brought it over, I saw the mail, I was like, oh no, I've just lost 60 quid's worth of voucher. The game itself, I haven't played. I know it wasn't that fondly thought of when it came out, but let's face it, it's a PS2 horror game. None of them were. That's why they're worth so much money. That's why that genre on that system is worth so much, because they didn't sell very well because people weren't looking for horror games on that generation. But yeah, I know it wasn't too fondly thought of. It's Capcom. They're the guys that do the horror, let's face it. They did Haunting Ground as well. Haunting Ground was like a spiritual successor to this one, I think. I think because this one didn't do so well, they sort of deviated and made a different IP with a very similar sort of premise. And you can see from reading the back, very similar premise. Alicia, you're a little girl, because of course you are. You're always a schoolgirl, aren't you, in these things? There's a problem with your family. It's a curse. You got to look after them, protect them from the servants of evil. How are you going to stop them before the clock strikes midnight? So yeah, the Clock Tower games, you know, that it's the scissor guy, isn't it? Yeah, just I had to pick this up. I've always wanted it. Really, I know 60 quid might be a bit much. I said at the start of the year that I wanted a heavy hitter, and that to me is £60 plus. So that's going to class as one of my heavy hitters, but had to pick it up. So I was really, as soon as I walked in there was a couple games in there I wanted. If I'd have been a bit different minded, I might have picked up one or two more for the more pricier side, but I thought one will do for today. But yes, my little trip to the Southwest, thoroughly enjoyed it. Visited some great stores. It was great to visit some different CEXs. Got a nice little pile here of games, and I managed to stay on track. All right, apart from Star Trek Voyager, but you know, when you see these things, you gotta pick them up, especially if you're gonna play them. And I managed to pick up one of my big hitters for the year in a lovely condition, so really happy. So yeah, a lovely trip to the Southwest, something a little different this week, which is nice, and we're adding some good games to the free game collection. So thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself, guys.